Hola chicos, bueno, bienvenidos a este maravilloso stream en el cual el día de hoy voy a estar jugando. Bueno, ustedes ya se van dando cuenta que con qué. Si han escuchado este juego, pues les tenemos que dar las gracias especiales a Devolver. Ellos nos han dado el acceso al juego para poder probarlo. Y este juego es muy especial porque Twitch lo tiene baneado. O sea, ustedes no pueden ver esto en Twitch o no pueden jugar esto en Twitch porque les van a bajar el stream. Y como se darán cuenta, ya hay genitales, yo necesito tener alcohol. Mucho. Así que vamos a jugar esta... ¡Maravilla! A ver, un toque. Antes de empezar vamos a ver un toque en los comentarios. Y hay gente que nos quiere reportar el video. Magime trata de decirnos algo. ¡Hay muchas salchichas! Espera un momento. No puedo leer. ¡Date vuelta, cochina! Ya, Isaac Ordoni dice: Hola, Isaac. Esperen un momento. Ya nos quieren reportar el video. ¡Carambas, gente! ¿Por qué? Todos tienen uno. Pues eso espero. Pasa tu pack Java. No. Ni siquiera estoy seguro de que soy mujer. O sea, por favor. Caramba, detesto cuando se me voltea la cámara. Ya. Mis bendiciones, Isaac. Paul Michael Villegas Vega pregunta: tengo enamorado. Estoy jugando con penes, amigo. ¿Qué crees? Es lo único que te puedo responder, mañas. Ya bueno, continuemos a nuestro juego maravilloso. Un momento, no entiendo este mouse. Ya. Ok. Ya. Bueno, básicamente no pueden usar el mouse. Ya estoy borracha. No soy borracha, así soy siempre. De hecho, y solo para que lo sepas, la cerveza no me emborracha. Así que puedes intentar meterme algo para tumbarme la chela, pero la chela por sí sola no me va a hacer nada. Mis condolencias, amigo. A ver, continuemos. ¿Cómo? Hay multiplayer. Ya, vamos a jugar Story Mode. Ya, New Game. Guay. Ok. Go to left. Está bien. Go to right. ¿Puedes coger el color de mi hibijibis? Go to the bottom. Ok. Go to the top. Yay. Ok. Knock the apple off the tree. ¿Pero cómo hago eso? ¿Le pego al árbol? ¿Le pego? ¿Le pegas? ¡Suéltala! ¡Suéltala! Eso no es una manzana. Ya está. Press space to pull from butt. ¿Qué? Momento. Espérate un momento. Pull from butt. ¿Qué? ¡Comes cosas con tus bolas! ¡Dios mío! ¿Cómo es eso posible? Y a ver, es como tener un carro. A ver. Ya. Oh. Vamos. ¡Cómetela! Ok. Está muy mal. Está muy mal. Go to the sandbox. Ya. Es muy difícil moverse siendo un pene. ¿Qué hago? ¿Tiro las cosas? No one will ever love you. Oh, ok. ¿Y qué hago? ¡Ey! ¡Fuera de mi arena! ¡Fuera! ¡Au! ¿Por qué ese pene es negro? ¿Y por qué el otro es amarillo? ¿Chino? No, espera. ¡Ah! ¡Déjame en paz!
John woke to the shrill cry of his alarm clock and lay there, rigid, his usual morning condition. But there was another reason John couldn't get out of bed. It was the weight. A weight that had nothing to do with his muscles or fat or sweaty blankets. John was weighed down by a piece of paper. The invitation to his high school reunion. From across the years, the words he'd heard in the schoolyard were still clear. You're a loser. No one will ever love you.
Ok. Ok. 3 meses. Eric, el video paró. Pero todavía estamos en YouTube. A ver. Sí, estamos en YouTube. Allá, ok. Estás en YouTube. Todo está bien. Gracias por seguir viendo esto. A ver, a ver. Ok. Pero, ¿qué hago? A ver. ¿Tengo que comerme la carta? No. Tengo que apagar el eso. Ok. Ok. Ya, a ver, tengo que vestirme. ¿Cómo me visto?
John threw on an outfit. He didn't feel comfortable wandering around his home naked.
Ok. ¿Qué es esto? Oh, ok.
John needed to shower and wash off the sweaty stink of desperate sadness. Most people would shower, then dress, but John was running late. They say cleanliness is next to godliness, but at that moment cleanliness was next to his prostate.
Dios mío, es muy difícil hacer esto. No, no. Tengo muchas preguntas. Ok, suéltalo. Suelta el jabón. Suelta el jabón. Ya. A ver, entonces ahora tengo que salir de aquí. Okay.
John had 3 months until the reunion to turn his life around. First, he needed to clean up.
Clean dishes. Ok, ok. Hola. Ay. ¿Cómo? ¡Ah! ¡Dios! Me voy a
John's
suicidar.
head was on fire. He seemed surprised. He shouldn't have been.
¿Qué significa esto? ¿Cómo llego ahí arriba? A ver, bueno. Ok.
The only reason he'd ordered so much takeout was because Angel, the delivery peen, made John feel butterflies in his testicles.
A ver, ¿cómo cierro la heladera? Ya. Ya te cerraron. Está bien. A ver. Ok, bueno, está bien. Si eso funciona para John, supongo que funcionará para mí. Solo quiero lavar los platos. Pero, a ver, si me doy vuelta e intento subir... ¿Tengo un banquito? ¿Tengo algo que sirva como un banquito? Esto ayuda. Vamos a ver si llevando esto puedo trepar al counter. No. No. ¡Au! ¿Por qué? ¡Ah! A ver. Gracias. Bueno.
John suddenly realized the time. Distracted by his new drive to improve his life, he had become late. He needed to hurry, or he'd miss the bus to work. John had left his apartment late, but if he caught the express bus, he might make it to work on time. John didn't really like his job, but it had 2 qualities in its favor. 1, he could pay his rent, and 2, Barbara. currently John's top candidate for his reunion date. John noticed a moderately attractive peen waiting at the stop.
¿Se llaman beans?
He tried to start a conversation and did not get the reaction he'd hoped for. It was probably because he was a minimum wage peen. She could probably sense it.
Ok. Pregunta. Eric, ¿se puede compartir el de YouTube? Ok.
The office hummed with cold fluorescent lighting. The air was cold and stale, lifeless. How long had John worked here? Long enough to deserve better.
Hola. ¿Esto? ¿Allí? ¿Para acá? ¿Para allá? No. No quiero pasar, muévete. ¿Cuál es mi oficina? Esta no ha de ser. Okay.
John was late, but he felt daring. He could sneak into the office through the archives, or he could stroll through the front entrance with enough confidence to bluff his boss.
Ow.
John decided to creep in through the archives. Despite the obvious flaws, John thought it was a good plan and not a recipe for humiliation.
Pero... ¡Quiero salir! Ok.
Everyone else was hard at work, grinding away. John might actually get away with this. The boss. He homed in on John, deluging him with spit and buzzwords. The boss ran out of synonyms for John's failings and gave him an ultimatum. Barbara would definitely not be interested in dating John if he was unemployed. He had to get to the quality assurance department.
No puedo tocar el teclado de John.
There might be a faulty dildo just waiting to cost the company millions in lawsuits. John would have to test them all. Every atom of John's rectum began to vibrate with the frequencies of pure pleasure. His orifice was a paradise. This vibrator would end all wars. It was good. That one was good too. The Prostate Pounder X900 series, the most advanced vibrator on the market. Sweet mother of no, John, that's too much pleasure for one anus to handle.
¡Dios! ¡No, detente! ¿Qué está pasando? Yo estoy haciendo nada. Y yo murió.
John's butt hurt, but his heart was proud. If that vibe had gotten out into the world, it could have injured a customer as badly as it had ravaged his anus.
Oh, okay.
The boss arrived and congratulated John on taking one for the team and jumping on the hand grenade, or in this case, putting it up his butt. John was having trouble following the conversation because he was quite high on suppository painkillers. And then the boss said it. Promotion. Finally, the company was recognizing John's hard work and ignoring his minor faults like lack of talent, constant lateness, and flatulence.
Okay.
John's new office smelt like polished wood and success.
¡Qué bueno!
John's success.
A ver si yo...
Sam dropped by. He'd heard John had been hurt. John said he was fine. He wasn't a softie to complain about a mildly ruptured rectum. Besides, he had a promotion to celebrate. John had met Sam in college during a sports ball game. He'd given him some stiff competition.
Hola Sam, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola. Espérate. No me vas a quitar la pelota, Sam. Es mía. No puedo hacer esto. Ahí está.
Even when he won, Sam never acted like he was better than John. They'd started at Flesh Corp product testing together. Nothing builds a friendship like a long day of dildo mounting.
Espérate. Ah. Oh, okay.
Yes, John had known Sam for a while.
Ah!
But John couldn't hang out with Sam. He had a reunion to prepare for. He was going out with Barbara tonight. He just had to ask her.
Oh. Espérate, pero no puedo comerlo. Lo siento, Sam. Tengo que ir. Adiós. ¿Cómo ordenan las cosas? Nadie tiene manos.
Everyone was quiet, listening to the presentation. A good moment for John to ask Barbara out.
¿Quién es Bárbara? Au. ¿Bárbara? ¿Quién es Bárbara?
That's not Barbara, John. Nope.
Ok. Perdón, lo siento. Perdón. Lo lamento. Quiero llegar a Bárbara. Perdón, señor Bene. Lo siento. ¿Bárbara?
Barbara agreed. Well, she nodded. Sort of. Things were really going John's way.
Pero.
John tried to act as suave as possible and listened to Barbara talk business. He didn't want to blow his chances at long-term love and short-term sex.
Solo tiran las cosas.
Barbara began to talk about monthly feedback figures, and John started to zone out, imagining him and Barbara at the reunion, a power couple. She would make his classmates sick with envy, if he could get her to tone down the boring chatter. John's balls were gripped by certainty. Barbara was the perfect date for the reunion.
Show of your skills. Pero, a ver.
John thought he would impress Barbara by going behind the bar and showing the bartender a thing or two. Despite Barbara's protests that it was unnecessary, John knew that a true gentleman should follow her home. He was excited. There was still 3 months until the reunion, and he'd already landed his perfect date.
Okay.
All he had to do was seal the deal. Barbara thanked John for the evening and politely did not invite him inside for coffee or sex, even though John had dropped some pretty obvious hints he'd be into both, or just the sex. The door slammed on John's hopes. He didn't understand. He'd laughed at all Barbara's pie chart jokes. He'd listened to her boring stories. The blank eyes of the lawn flamingos were witnesses to John's shame.
No, John, no llores. Espérate, ¿qué puedo hacer? ¿Puedo empujar sus cosas? Si me como una manzana, me sentiré mejor. Este juego está muy mal. ¿Cómo sé cuál es mi casa?
John began the lonely walk home, thoughts tumbling like shoes in a dryer. He had done everything wrong. Barbara had led him on just to humiliate him.
¿Qué? Es difícil mover mi pene ya. Es difícil. A ver, ¿y si me cuelo por atrás? ¿Y si me cuelo por atrás? No era para este lado. Mi casa está para el otro lado. ¿Por qué, John? ¿Por qué eres así? Ah, no, sí es para este lado. ¿Pero por acá?
John
Feeling
felt
empty.
empty. How could he get love? He felt like he was missing something, some key to attracting sex. But John was shooting blanks.
¡Es un
What did
pene!
Peens want?
¿Cómo puedes sufrir tanto? ¿Sufrir
Then it
tanto?
hit John out of nowhere. Stuff. He had the success. He just needed to show it off. But where was John going to get all the stuff he wanted?
But
John
loads.
needed a sign.
Ok. Entonces eres un pene exitoso luego de sufrir por varios años siendo...
A new day, a new John. He waited
Pisoteado.
outside his local buttload store for it to open, eager to spend his promotion bonus on stuff. The best way to impress women.
Pero un momento. ¿Tiene dinero? Ok.
There's nothing like a rectum full of money to make a peen feel like a man.
No hay nada como un trasero lleno de dinero, señores. Nada.
Suddenly it occurred to John that he was going to make a lot of choices. And every one of those choices would tell the world who he was. Did he want cheese or sausage? Delicious.
Pero no te lastima el amigo. A ver, está muy mal.
What would a date think when they sat in John's home? Comfort or style?
Quiero este. Dame este. Dámelo. Dámelo. Pero ¿cómo lo compro? Tengo que decirle al dude como que... ¿Ten mi dinero? ¿Ten mi dinero? O me llevo el cartel. ¿Cómo? ¿O tengo que comprar este?
Nothing says style like an overpriced and uncomfortable chair. John weighed up all the differences, but this was a tough choice.
Okay.
Something told John this was the TV for him.
Okay. ¿Este? A ver. Yes.
John chose the extremely, obviously bad TV.
Ya, ok. Este es más. Ahí está.
John realized that it was only 2 months and 29 days until the reunion.
Oh no.
Time flies. Cactus or rose? Was John a rugged hero or a romantic poet? If John grew his own flowers, then he'd save on romantic gestures in the long run.
Yes. Wait, what? No me voy a morir todavía, señor.
There was nothing John could take with him to the grave.
Perfecto.
Except his coffin. John liked to get his pizza delivered. That way he could see Delilah, the delivery peen. She always made him smile.
Pero quiero llevarme esto. Dame esta.
John knew that Delilah thought pineapple on pizza was an abomination. What bedding would Delilah prefer? John couldn't help wondering.
Bueno, trabaja con pizzas, así que no creo que... Esta. Esta acá. Esta acá. Esta acá.
Regular sheets, just like the regular pizzas he regularly ordered. Devoid of any sense of style, buying new clothes would be John's toughest challenge.
No.
When was the last time John had been to the beach?
¿Por qué tiene un...
John felt sharp, and also like a phony.
A ver, un momento.
Very spunk rock.
Ese me gusta.
A nice fit, but could John pull off the color?
No. No.
It was a bit breezy, maybe for summer.
No.
The silky fabric made John feel like a celebrity.
No.
John might want to take the hem up a bit.
Pero es una falda. Es un dude. Sí, creo que está mejor. Dámelo. Dámelo.
John decided to go with the outfit. Music, the food of love. Should John go retro sophisticated or just retro?
No sé, fingí que tienes dinero, duda, así que bueno.
John's personal nostalgia was more important than sound quality. Every can was made of metal, pulled from the bones of the earth, wrestled to the surface and smelted in roaring furnaces. All so John could buy peas preserved in salty water and stick them up his butt.
¿Por qué?
John's new purchases were on the way to his apartment. All he had to do was invite a date over. One look at all his stuff and they'd be overwhelmed with sexual desire. John felt proud and also hungry. It gave him an idea. He should invite Delilah over for dinner.
Ok, ¿cómo le invito?
John was excited. Delilah was on her way. He just needed to set the mood to romance.
A ver. ¿Candles? ¿Cómo las prendo? ¿Cómo? A ver, debería haber como que un interruptor en alguna parte. ¿Cómo prendo mis velas? ¿Tienen un truco? A ver. A ver. A ver. No. Ok. ¿Está encendido? A ver. ¿Cómo prendo la vela? ¿Con mi trasero? Vamos. Tú puedes. ¡Oh! ¡Hay un fósforo! A ver, a ver. No, 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 no. Ya. A ver. Vuelve a tu lugar. ¡Oh, no! Ya, 1, 2, 3. Ok. Y a ver, vamos a ver si puedo acomodarlas. A ver, rosas. ¿Dónde están las rosas? Están en mi cuarto. Mi banquito caro. A ver. ¿Podría acomodar mi televisor a tiempo? No creo.
John hoped she didn't have allergies.
Ok. A ver, un momento. ¿Qué supone que significa esto? ¿Por qué un ataúd? A nadie le gusta el ataúd. A ver, música. Me di toda una vuelta. Eso es lo máximo. ¡Pua! A ver. ¡Préndete! ¿Cómo prendo la radio? Tengo que poner un cassette. A ver. Yes. Soy lo máximo.
That must be Delilah at the door. The door opened and there was Delilah. John gulped down his nerves and invited her in. John could tell that Delilah was impressed by his stuff. It was time to crank up the mood to seduction.
A ver. Voy a tirar todo, lo sé, lo siento. Soy muy torpe. A ver, ¿cómo lo agarro? ¡No puedo! ¡Es muy difícil! Ups. A ver, otra vez.
John wanted to offer Delilah wine, but he'd already popped his cork. Delilah started looking as nervous as John felt. He assumed it was because she was shy too. They really were compatible. Of course, at the reunion, he couldn't mention Delilah was a delivery peen. That would be embarrassing. Delilah suddenly headed for the door. And just like that, John was alone again. Delilah hadn't even looked at his stuff.
No,
The rejection burned. John felt insignificant. He had everything he wanted. The job, the money, the stuff. So much stuff. He wanted to destroy all of it. Shove it into the abyss. His stuff didn't matter. He was a shaft in the machine. A lonely piston pumping away like all the others in his rigid place. Nothing special about him. Why should Delilah or Barbara or any other peen be interested in dating him? He was just like everyone else and they could tell. You're dead, technology tapes. Get out of here, lamp. John wanted to be special, but he had to face the numb truth. He wasn't. And all the money and stuff he'd ever accumulate wouldn't change that. He thought it would make him unique, but it just made him more like everyone else. He should leave it all. Get out of this little town and go on an adventure. See the world. He was a boring corporate drone, but he didn't have to be. He could be a traveler, exploring jungles and climbing mountains. He could visit the wonders of the world and get his picture taken. Like Peony Island, the unspoiled paradise he'd seen on TV. Sayonara, stool. That was it. John had to travel.
Okay. Me voy de viaje.
Bags packed, John was ready to put 5,000 miles between him and his problems. He was leaving it all behind.
Yeah. No. Señor, tenga mi pasaporte. Mi dinero. Ya. Y ahora esto de acá.
John was so close. He could almost smell the freedom of the skies. Security sent John back through the detector.
Quiero salir, señor, pero no puedo.
John had forgotten he had his nail clippers with him. He'd have to buy another pair soon, or he'd look ridiculous.
A ver. ¿Pero cómo paso? Soy muy grande. A ver. No. está. Gracias, señor. Gracias, señor. Gracias, señor. Hola.
When
Hola,
the
¿qué tal?
acceleration of takeoff had slackened, John felt a sweet relief. He had left his worries on the runway. He was up in the clouds, on his way to adventure.
Supone que este es un niño. Estoy preocupada. ¿Qué va a pasar con John?
John's adventure had begun at last, and clearly it was a small world after all, and also a flat one. That was going to piss off the globeheads.
Ok. A ver. Hola. Tengo que visitar las 13 maravillas del mundo. Con mi maleta. Esta no es una. Por acá no hay nada. Dos. ¿Pero por qué no se está registrando? ¿Tengo que meterme algo en el trasero? Tal vez sí. Ok, entonces sí. A ver, ¿puedo agarrar ese dinero? Necesito agarrar mi dinero. Mi dinero. A ver. Agarra el dinero. A ver, ¿cómo me meto esto en el trasero? Es una buena pregunta. O en mi maleta. Ah, tiene que ser por arriba. Ok. Au. ¿Está trabado? Ahí está. Try putting this in your butt. Ya. Ok. Oh no. Me estoy quedando sin dinero. Instagram.
John was having fun, but something told him he needed to go home. Probably his empty bank account.
Mi dinero.
John was on his way back home. He was out of money, but money can't buy love. What it can buy are the experiences that had made John a more interesting and developed person, with 100 Butstagram photos to prove it. Finally, everything was going smoothly.
Okay,
John felt good to be back on the familiar ground of home, but he would feel better to be on the familiar mattress of home. That's not John's bag.
Okay. Oh, no. No, mi maleta. ¿Para qué la agarré si no me la llevo? Ya. Oiga, déjenme irme. Señor, muévase. Me está estorbando.
Despite John's swell of fresh optimism, traveling was exhausting, and he just really wanted to get home and get some sleep.
¡No me te pegue! ¿Ya? Oye, qué eficiente ese bus. Se iba del aeropuerto a tu casa. Izquierda. Derecha. No puedo. Ok. To her locker. ¿Cuál es su locker? No. ¿Cuál es her locker? ¿Es uno de estos? ¿Cuál es? Oh, acá había más. Ok. ¡Oh, no! ¡Oh, no! ¡Yo
Another
no!
nightmare. John's stress about getting a date for the reunion was making him think of her. Harmony. He hadn't seen her in years. Would she be at the reunion? John shook off the thought. He wasn't a child. He was a fully grown penis.
Solo faltan 6 semanas.
John, why is the bathroom barricaded?
A ver. Yeah.
For skin's sake, is that a swan? John had no idea how it had gotten into his home, or why it hated him so much. It would probably be best to leave it alone.
¡Ey, fuera! ¡Fuera de mi baño! ¡Fuera de mi baño! ¡Fuera! ¡Fuera! ¡Cállate! ¡Cállate ahora mismo! Bueno. ¡Ey, fuera! ¡Fuera! ¡Déjame en paz! Estoy limpio. Me doy una caja blanca ahí arriba. ¿Qué podré hacer? ¿Tendrá algo importante? ¿Para John? Creo que no. Ya. Fuera.
John's butt started to buzz. Had he left a vibrator up there? Whatever it was, he should get it out.
Está llorando.
John's old phone. They really were indestructible. It was Sam calling.
He wanted to check in on John. The travel looked fun, but it was so sudden. Was John okay? Sam was such a softie, always worrying about feelings. John had only one feeling, and it was the feeling of being awesome.
Okay.
He could drop Sam a text, but John was on a mission. The reunion was getting closer, and he had to get a date. Fortunately, John knew exactly where to find love.
¿Por qué no le pregunta a Sam? ¿Por qué no le dice a Sam que le presente a alguien?
John held his breath. He was about to meet his match. He had to reassure himself he could do this. He had a good job. He had nice stuff. He had traveled. He was ready to find love. On
LOL.
where all his sexy travel photos would give him the pick of the pack.
No puedo. Ven conmigo, John. A ver. No. 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 Quiero cambiar. Helga no me gusta. Se ve cocha. No es mi tipo. ¡No puedo cambiar! A ver. Ahí está. A ver. John.
Too
No.
skinny.
No.
Too
No.
short.
Tiene bigote. ¿Es eso
Too
posible?
much foreskin.
Está vieja.
Hot.
No.
Not enough foreskin.
Ella sí. Espérate un momento. Eso es un...
Sexy.
No.
Glasses.
No.
Bangs.
No. Ella puede ser. A ver, a ver. Pero ¿cómo? A ver. Tengo que retroceder y... ¡Ah! Me gusta.
Very nice.
Ok. Alguien contéstele. Espérate, ¿qué? John, ¿estás en calzones? No.
Yep, the pick of the pack.
Ah. No. Ella sí. Ella no. Ella sí, ella sí. No.
Yes! John had the pick of the pack.
¿Por qué tira confeti? Okay.
John valued honesty in a date, but he had been expecting a different kind of dirty. A sexy and much more hygienic kind.
Just a nice queen looking for love. ¡Ah! ¿Es frígida? A ver, a ver. No, quiero cogerlos. Ya.
John was scared of getting circumcised so late in life.
Pero ¿cómo?
Oh, better put that on ice. It'll be okay, John. Chicks fix cars. I hope.
After the reattachment surgery, the doctors had told John to rest. So he did, for 6 hours.
Hola. A ver.
Ugh, salty.
Necesito aprender a saltar.
John was in stitches.
Oh, ok. No creo que esto funcione. Pero quiero coger las flores. ¿Puedo cogerlas con mi trasero?
Karen had invited John straight over. She was not fooling around. Very exciting. And now she wanted him round the back.
Está casada.
Karen let John know that the cake was only for the kids. So was the candy. And the piñata. And that she'd be back in 1 hour.
¿Qué? ¡Oh! ¡Qué mala mujer! Está bien, me voy a comer la manzana. Pero hay caca. ¿Y el payaso? Los beach picnics en reunión.
John laughed at Melody's hilarious bullfrog story. She was adorable. Everything was going perfectly.
Nada puede ir también para yo. No.
saw Melanie again.
No. La perdió para siempre.
So far, Weena had been a parade of weirdos and rejections. If this date didn't work out, John vowed to give it up. But maybe this time, maybe today would be his day.
A ver, John, tú puedes encontrar el
Sharona
amor.
sighed and said, "You'll do."
¿Se van a casar de frente? ¡Qué rápido! ¡Ah! Oh, no. No confío.
John felt a little underdressed and a lot overwhelmed.
No,
He was
está en
surrounded
traje.
by strangers, and Sharona was glaring at the muscular groom. At least John hadn't missed out on the cake.
John realized that Sharona had only brought him to create some penis envy. What a terrible plan, for so many reasons. John got excited. They were going to cut the cake.
No puedo sentar.
"He's mine!" Sharona screamed as she launched herself at the newlyweds.
¿Qué?
Suddenly, peens everywhere were yelling, "No, he's mine!" It was a no-holds-barred cockfight.
Ok. Dude, ¿está bien? ¡Déjenme en paz! ¡Me tengo que ir! No quiero nada con ustedes. Adiós. Perdón,
As
padre.
John dodged flying glasses and cake, he felt a stab of envy. The groom had dozens of penises after him, and John had none. It was just wrong.
Ok.
John
adiós.
left the screams and explosions behind him. It was a disastrous end to his online dating.
Qué fea huevada. Literalmente. Pobre hombre. Si me voy a la ambulancia. No, no es por acá. Tengo que irme por el otro lado. Debería una flechita.
He had tried everything, and it just wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough. Maybe the bullies from school were right. John was a natural-born loser.
No, tiene dinero.
Swans were so simple. If you gave them bread, they liked you. But you can't take a swan to a reunion.
O si puedes. ¡Oh no! ¡Me van a atacar! ¡Ah! ¡Son malos! ¡Son malos! Dejen a John en paz. Está sufriendo.
John was lucky he didn't have any bones to break.
Pero los enterré. y vi
John
que
wanted what that groom had.
tenían
Love. Real love. The kind that makes
Ow.
penises fight to the death.
No, señor. Quiero subirme al bus. No se vaya. Ahí está. Es difícil. Ya me quiere el Disney.
Days later, the question was still bugging John. Why were so many penises in love with the groom? But no one loved John.
Pobre John, nadie lo quiere.
It wasn't fair. John deserved attention. He had money and Buttstagram pics of his adventures. He even still had quite a lot of stuff. What did that penis have that John didn't?
Necesito lavar siquiera un plato. Vamos. Solo uno. Bueno.
Then it hit John.
Se Se supone
That
que es toda
penis
la
was
historia
so
de un pene
strong
con
and hard.
problemas
That's
de
what
seguridad
everyone
consigo
wanted.
mismo.
That's what John wasn't. That's what John had to be to find love.
Pobre John.
It was time to hit the gym.
Eso fue rápido.
John arrived at his local gym. A part of him couldn't believe he was here. He just wasn't a gym penis. But John had tried everything else. If he wanted to get the perfect date, he'd need to sign up.
Ok, entonces... pobre John. No, espérate un momento. O sea, va a seguir probando, pero ¿por qué no va soltero a la reunión? No es como que...
Sam? What was he doing here? Of course, Sam was married. John's theory was right. If you get muscles, you get love.
No, porque Sam no es un imbécil.
Out of nowhere, Sam asked John how he was doing. Really doing. For a moment, John wanted to be honest. But he didn't come to gym to be a softie. John was here to get hard.
Oh. Ok. Permiso, Sam, permiso. ¡Muévete!
It was John's first time in a gym since school. He tried not to read too much into that.
A ver. Hola.
Sam went on ahead with a chipper promise to meet up with John inside.
Hola.
John had two options. He could try month by month, or if he signed the 10-year Big Muscles Big Savings contract, he'd get a free easy squeezy water bottle.
No.
John only needed muscles for the reunion. After that, he wouldn't care.
Ok, entonces ya pagué, ahora me voy a... ¿De joditas?
The gym's clean peen pool policy meant that John would have to do something he had never done before. Get naked in front of strangers. Maybe he could set a record for speediest cleanse.
¿Cómo te desnudas?
John decided to take the risk that no one was enforcing the clean peen policy. Sam enthusiastically greeted John and offered to show him around, obviously not realizing that John was a natural athlete. The pool was like baptism, the icy water washing away John's flabby flab. He found his stroke, gliding through the water like an eel with large, ungainly testicles. This wasn't hard. John couldn't believe peens actually got gold medals just for splashing around. Maybe he could become an Olympian. He was slowing down a bit, flailing a bit. But John pushed on, knowing that looking good in a Speedo was the only thing that could save him from an empty existence. John wanted to take a break, forever. The pool was not his friend.
No.
It was not the blissful wet dream of his fantasies. It was a hellish prison of murderous fluid, determined to drown him. No wonder life crawled out of the sea, desperate to escape the water.
Vamos, John. Tú puedes. Tú puedes, John. No te ahogues. No te ahogues. No te ahogues. Una más, John. Una más. No te ahogues, pendejo.
Done. John had not drowned, but more importantly, he had not quit. Time to hit the weight room.
Espérate un momento.
The diving board. At school, all the peenlets had to jump off it, but John had been too scared.
¿Cómo?
Well, John wasn't a scared peenlet anymore.
¿Pero cómo te trepo aquí? ¡Ay, ay, ay! Te prego mi trasero. ¡Ah! ¡Uy!
Well done, John. The judges give you 3 for form, but 9 for enthusiasm.
Ok, vamos a las pesas. ¿Era por acá? No era por acá. Dios mío, ese juego es terrible con las direcciones.
John's muscles bunched and bulged. The time in the gym was already paying off. Fresh from conquering the pool, John felt ready for anything the gym could throw at him, even heavy metal weights. Clearly, John knew how to handle equipment.
A ver. Dos. Tres. No, ese no es un 3. Vamos. ¡Tú puedes! ¡Cógela! ¡Cógela, John! John, tú puedes. Yo creo en ti. Cógela. ¡Uah! 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 Vamos. ¡Ah! ¡Vamos, John! ¡Vamos, John! ¡Ah!
Sam cheered John on, as if he needed it.
Vamos. Vamos. ¡Ah! Vamos. Pues, John. ¿Que necesito la grande? Wow. A ver. Estoy botando todo, pero no estoy levantando nada. Es muy difícil. Me la estoy levantando porque no cuenta. Vamos. 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 9. Okay.
Adrenaline coursed through John's veins, his butthole clenched like a fist.
Vamos. Vamos, John. Tú puedes. Tú puedes. Tú puedes. 14. 15. Vamos. Vamos, 15. Vamos, John. Vamos, yo creo en ti.
John was forging himself into the peen he saw on movie screens, bulging and sweat-slicked, hard and shiny.
Ok. 20, faltan 5. 21. 22. 23. 24.
Boom! John was cocked and loaded. Didn't Sam ever get out of breath? The stream of encouragement was exhausting. Slow and steady. That's right, John. Like a lover. Or pouring gravy.
¿Cómo hace eso, John? Perdón, Sam. ¡Ya me de frente! ¡No se puede! ¡Ey, fuera, fuera! ¿Sabes qué? Voy a cambiar de máquina. No me cae bien este dude. A ver, yo puedo hacer lo que hace John. Perdón, lo que hace Sam. O eso creo. ¿Tiene que ser en esa? ¡Ah! No!
John was getting used to unmarked syringes lying around. That had gotten John's heart rate up and his life expectancy down. John was sweating like a senator on a sex tape, but he wasn't done. John took a deep breath, clenched, and pulled.
Pero si tienes diarrea. ¿Por qué no estoy haciendo ninguna? Pero soy... ¡Ey! ¿Por qué no puedo hacer ninguna? ¿Qué está pasando? Dios. ¿Cómo? El dude retrocede y avanza. A ver. ¿Se puede? Se puede. Pero no cuenta ninguna. Es injusto. Me siento decepcionada. Yo estoy haciendo todo bien, pero no las cuenta. Yo lo intenté. ¿Qué hace Sam?
Sam made this look so easy. John squashed the thought. He'd just have to push harder.
¿Sam? ¿Es en serio? Espérate, es para acá.
John tried to make eye contact with Sam, get in his head a bit.
Ahí está. Ok.
Sam didn't seem to notice John, but John could tell Sam was impressed.
¡Ah!
Even though he still hadn't looked at John, not that it mattered to John, because John was in the zone, deep in the zone.
Ya creo que... ¡Oh!
With the sound of a deflating truck tire, John's sphincter gave out. Sam congratulated John for trying and told him it was okay to take things slow, as if John was going to quit. Well, he wasn't. John had a mission, and the reunion was getting closer.
Pero ya hizo todo lo demás. ¿Qué más quieres de John? Ah. ¡Ii! A ver. Espérate. Yo puedo hacer esto. Yo puedo. O eso creo. No puedo. ¡Vamos! ¡Acéptalo! Estoy levantándolo. ¡Acéptalo! Ya. Ok. Vamos, John, tú puedes. Tú puedes, John. Vamos, John. pasar ripiadazo. Vamos. Vamos, John. Dios mío. Quiero coger el pollo. Ya. Listo. Está tomando. Right. Oh no, es un sueño. Y si los pongo a ellos acá. ¡Ah! A ver, ellos son mis cadáveres, así que debería poderlos poner para hacer una barricada de poder cruzar. ¿O no? No, no. ¿No? Ok. Y si trabo las cuchillas con las sillas. No, no sirve de mucho. A ver. ¡Wow! ¡No! Estaba muy cerca. Muy cerca. A ver, ¿cómo pasó esto? Si sigo de frente, tiene que haber como que un aire entre todas las cosas, cuales me permitan como que pasar y no morir. A ver. Ay, es muy difícil entre mis cadáveres. No. Ups. No. Vamos, John. Ya. Me quedo parada acá un rato. Ah, lo puedo cortar. Tengo que subir y estacionar a John. No. Au. Au. Ese es mi locker. Pero ya encontré mi locker. ¡Wow! Esto se volvió Happy Wheels muy fácil. Au. Hola. Mira. Mira lo que puedo hacer con esa pelota. ¡Guau! Dios mío, contigo, John. ¿En serio?
As soon as John woke up, the mirror called to him. His
His
abs looked like a pack of vacuum-sealed hot dogs. Tasty. Jim had remade John into a sculpted adongus.
Tiene coquitos. Es un
He was
perico coquito.
finally everything a peen should be. Successful, travelled, and photogenic. It was time for his morning pre-gym workout.
Ahora es
The
más
swan was starting to like John. It hadn't tried to peck his eye out in hours.
John no tiene ojos. Ok. Me preocupa este hombre. Está usando droga. ¿Por qué, John? No, eso está bien.
The reunion invitation caught John's eye.
Okay.
He read it again. And again. Stunned. He'd gotten the date wrong. Very wrong. The reunion was tonight. Tonight!
Oh, John!
He'd have to go alone. They'd all be there, and they'd look at John and they'd know he was still a loser. No, there was still
No, John,
time.
ya no eres un perdedor.
John needed a date fast. He'd have to go out.
Ya sé.
He'd have to make an
Parece
impact.
un dude, bro.
John had to dress his best, only better.
Espérate. ¿Por qué la gorra? ¿Por qué está tomando
There
anabólico?
had to be someone single and desperately alone in the city. Someone besides John. He just had to find them.
Me preocupa este hombre.
John went straight to the nearest bar. Sure, it was still early, but he couldn't waste any time. There must be some day drinkers he could pick up.
Fine. Déjame en paz. No te voy a hacer nada. ¡Ey! Basta.
It was a classy place. Even the vomit was high quality.
No. Espera un momento, ¿eso es un bar? ¿Qué? ¿Este es el bar? ¿Cómo sé quién es quién? ¿Cómo distingo? ¿Cómo lo distingo?
The bouncer looked like a hagfish
yeah.
that had taken up lacrosse.
Ok. No.
Much better.
Ya.
John stepped into the bar and saw her. The answer to the question, What was John's purpose? Her. Loving her. Being with her. Taking her to the reunion. Their eyes met, and John knew she felt the same. Gladys did not feel the same. But John wasn't going to give up on their life together. A couple of drinks would loosen her up to their destiny. Wow, Gladys was not an amateur when it came to drinking. John had to keep up. It was working. Gladys was definitely warming up to John.
No, es porque le está dando alcohol. No, John, eso va a terminar muy mal. Ay, no puedo agarrarla. Vamos. Ahí está.
John's bladder was very full. It sloshed audibly as he moved. Holy balls. John had never felt such relief.
Ok. Ok. Me voy. Me largo. Suficiente.
If only John could wash off the embarrassment like he washed off the urine.
Pero espérate, ¿se puede sacar? Ok. Está bien.
John looked around. Gladys was gone. John cursed his petite bladder.
Oiga, señor.
The bald bartender shrugged and told John Gladys had left because some creep was trying to get her drunk.
Ay, John. Ay, John. Voy a estar mirarte en el espejo. Hombre, el hombre raro que eres.
The bar was empty. The creep must have left too. It was clear the cockpit was on autopilot. Time for John to hit the next bar. John's anxiety had sunk under the surface of the beer he'd drunk, while his confidence was floating high. This was the place he'd find love. It was empty, except for the bartender. Clearly this bar's only special was unhappy hour.
Hola. Dame cosas.
2 for 1 was a good deal though, and so far the beer had lifted John's spirits. Another 4 would make him feel twice as good.
A ver, John. ¿Tienes que tomarte las 4? Okay.
The bartender gave John a smile that set his heart hammering. He had to impress her.
Perdón, perdón.
What was so offensive about offering a big tip in exchange for a date? John had thought bartenders loved tips. He needed to find a better club.
No,
one
John.
with a vibe.
Así no funciona. Así no funciona, John.
John was drawn by the pulse of the music.
Dinero.
It pulled him forward like a moth to a fiery death. John was running out of time to find a date and prove that he wasn't a loser. Dancing, the real way to flirt, the way of animals, of wild sexual creatures. John strutted and shook his booty. With booze buzzing round his head, John found himself on the dance floor. Everyone was up close and sweaty. John was exhilarated.
What?
He felt alive.
Woo.
John was working himself up to try a little bump and grind.
Pero... A ver. Y todo se fue.
It was a moment out of a movie. John alone on the dance floor with a gorgeous penis, their sexual chemistry exploding. She moved away, coyly. John could tell when someone was playing hard to get. He let her marinate in the tension before making his move.
Está ebrio porque es muy difícil moverlo.
John wasn't taking no for an answer.
Oh no!
Some people have no sense of fun, but John was certain the next bar would be different.
Ay no, John. ¿Por qué eres así?
The next bar wasn't different. John couldn't understand why everyone was so sensitive. It was like no one wanted to have a good time. Like no one had a sense of humor. John had meant that as a compliment. When did the world get so uptight? John's ego was as bruised as his shaft. He had to admit it. He'd failed. He was where he belonged. Oh, that's gross. Oh, it's so moist, but textured. It smells like rotting dick yogurt. John's misery was sour in his mouth. He needed a drink to wash it down. There was still one bar he hadn't been kicked out of yet.
¿Va a encontrar a alguien? No.
John had cleaned himself up as much as possible. He really needed a mint.
¡Bota el jabón! Vamos. Suéltalo. Ya. ¿Qué? ¿W? A ver.
John got it in, but he needed more to satisfy the machine.
Dios. John. No se puede con este hombre. Vamos. Vamos. Ya.
Nailed it. John let out his anger, his frustration. Life was a shitty joke. It wasn't fair. You want to mess with John? Do you?
Return. Vamos. Dame mis cosas. ¿Cuál es el return? A ver, debe A ver, alguna manera de... Puedes return. Puedes return. Vamos. Vamos. ¿Cuál será headbutt? A ver. Return. ¿Cuál es return? Return. A ver. Ah, ya entendí. Hay que pegarla a la... Pero acá abajo. Eso es muy raro. Vamos. Vamos. Dame mis mentas. Dame mis mentas. Dame mis mentas. Dámelas. 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 Estoy intentando. Porque el juego no me ayuda. No. No se puede. Vamos. 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 Solo quiero una menta. Haz que me den la pinche menta. Eric, ayúdame. Ayúdame, Eric. Eric. Ayúdame. No puedo conseguir la meta. ¡Ah! No, ya no me acepta monedas. Ya lo intenté. Lo estoy golpeando. No puedo. Es muy difícil pegarle con mis bolas. ¡Dame mis cosas! ¡Dámelas! 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 Soy un pene frustrado. ¡Ah! 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 No puedo, es muy difícil. Dame mis cosas. ¡No! ¡Dame mis metas! ¡Dame! No, estoy presionando Enter.
This is what you get.
Ahí está. Sí, return. ¡Dámela! ¡Dámela! Puede que sí. ¡Dámelas! ¿Qué vecinos? Espérate. Me puedo tirar pedos. Espérate. ¡Vamos!
Fuck you, you fucking thing.
No puedo.
You had one job. Die, 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 die!
Ya sé cómo se siente yo.
It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not.
Estoy trabada. A ver, ¿se puede apuntar bien? Izquierda. Ya. ¡Vamos! ¡Vamos! ¡Destrúyete! Finalmente.
That's how you get what you want.
Menthol.
Listo.
John wanted the strongest drink they had. Rough night? Someone asked John. He hadn't noticed her when he came in, but now he did.
Oh.
It
Hola.
really had been a rough night for John, but he felt a little better that someone cared enough to ask.
Dame dinero.
It was a pity
Hola.
they were only sort of attractive.
Woo!
John lost it.
Au.
How had John gotten into this mess? He asked
Era un
himself,
pájaro,
as though
Dios
he
mío.
hadn't punched first. Get him, John! I can't watch. Oh my God!
Ven acá. Ven acá. I'm gonna cut you, little bitch.
Don't hold back! Give it to him!
Venga. Ven. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, okay.
Yes!
Okay.
Yes!
Okay. ¿Qué? Oh, amigo, fuera, 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 fuera acá. Fuera acá. Fuera. Ouch. Au. Au. Fuera. Fuera. Fuera acá.
Ooh! Oh!
Ouch. No. No.
John had survived. No, he'd won. He'd won. He'd won. He wasn't a loser. And there was
Okay.
the proof lying in a bruised, bloody heap. John didn't need a date to the reunion. He needed to go over there and beat the pre-cum out of those dicks. High school reunion, the perfect time to teach someone a lesson.
Pero ¿y cómo salgo? ¿Qué? Ok. ¿Sí? ¿Eso funcionó? ¿No? ¿No? Adiós.
The doors of the school. A
Okay.
sight John had dreaded every day for years.
Yeah.
And now he was going willingly through them, unafraid, fueled by years of unprocessed anger fermented in loneliness. John was back.
Tú puedes, John. Eres musculoso y tienes dinero.
The chickens were coming home to roost, and they were all cocks. These were the peanlets he'd grown up with, now with jobs and marriages and beer bellies. John was surprised at how ordinary they had all turned out. He spotted them, John's tormentors. Time for them to feel the wrath.
Son gays. Son muy gays.
That's the stuff, John. Careful.
Ha! Who's a loser now? Who?
Fight back, John.
Tú puedes, John.
Shake off the pain, buddy.
¡Ah! ¡No!
Ow!
¡Ah! ¡Ay, no! Necesito.
Get in there. Dodge! Don't let up.
Vamos, John. Vamos, John.
How do you like that? Pow!
That's enough. John! Oh, for skin's sake. What have you done?
Pain cut through the numbing haze of alcohol. John couldn't keep fighting. He was done. He couldn't change the past. He was a loser.
Au. Todos le pegan. ¿Pero por qué es tan
John
importante si
tumbled
odiaba
down
a
the
todos?
steps, hitting every bruise on his length and his ego.
Harmony?
It was her. Harmony. She had been at the reunion. She'd seen it all and followed John out. To laugh at him more? No. To see if he was all right. Why did that hurt John so much? This was John's chance to ask her why all those years ago she'd said to him, "No one will ever love you." Harmony stared at John in shock. How could John not know why? Didn't John remember what he'd done?
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué hizo John? ¡Oh! Dios mío, el drama. Pero tiene gusano. Pero ya no hay más. Manzana. Ay, eso me duele. Perdóname, John. Au. ¿Qué pasó después? Demasiadas cosas de problemas interpersonales, Dios mío. Como una canción de Fall Out Boy.
There was nothing Sam enjoyed more than the fresh air of an early morning. The dew sparkling on the grass, the music of the trees, space to think. Sam stared at the view, peaceful.
Okay. Okay.
What was that smell? It made Sam's eye water.
Ooh. No.
It was John, passed out and crusted with vomit and regret. John was awake and tolerably clean. Sam tried to be gentle and invited John to join him on his walk. Sam coaxed John along. It was like herding compost.
Vamos. Vamos, John. A ver. Vamos, John. 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 John, reacciona. Ya, vamos.
John couldn't answer Sam's questions yet. How had he ended up such a wreck?
¿Qué es tu problema, John? No está muerto, solo está ahí sentado. Ok, vamos.
John immediately felt better, but his head was still pounding, and not in a good way.
No, suelta eso. Au.
If only John could fly away from his pain as easily. The throbbing ache dulled. John was feeling much more himself, and he realized that was not what he wanted to feel. Even that bit of senseless destruction couldn't cheer John up.
Vamos. Cámbiate. Cámbiate. Cámbiate, carambas. Me perturban los sonidos de... Vamos, cámbiate. Como una persona decente. Por favor, John. No. Eres un hombre, pues lo creo. Ya, está mejor. Y unos lentes. Vamos, unos lentes. Ya, ya fue. No, no me gusta. No. Ya vamos. ¿Qué pasa contigo, John?
Sam saw his friend's misery. He suggested they keep going.
¿Hacia dónde?
John wanted to know something. Why didn't anyone love him? As soon as he said it, he felt like a softie, whining about his feelings.
Parece que estoy apretando E y está hablando. O eso parece. Ok. Pero si quiero salir de ahí. Ahí está. Llora, John. Llora hasta que ya no tengas nada más que hacer, ni decir, ni sentir. ¿No tienes nada más que sufrir? Perfecto, continuemos. Ay, ups. Oh, wait, no, ¿qué? Espérate, ¿se tiene que meter cosas en el trasero? ¿Eso es lo que tiene que pasar aquí? ¿En serio? Está bien. No sé por qué. No quiero saber.
But Sam didn't make fun of him. Sam asked him to go on. And so John told him the whole story. About how hard he'd made himself and how unfair it felt. And everything he'd done.
No puedo tomarlo en serio. Es muy difícil. O sea, en cierta medida me siento triste ya, pero no puedo. Ya, John, ve y haz lo que tengas que hacer. No sé cómo ni por qué, no quiero saberlo. Sam.
Saying it out loud, John realized he'd sounded like an asshole. But he'd done everything right. Why didn't he get what he wanted? Why didn't John get love?
No sé, John, tal vez porque de verdad si eres un imbécil. Solo una idea.
Wanting someone isn't the same as loving them, said Sam. You'll figure it out, John. But you have to keep trying.
Yes. Yes. Sam es una buena persona.
How about a bike ride? Sam asked.
¿Cómo? Supongo que tengo como que coger el handle.
John struggled to get his balance, but Sam told him not to give up. John kept trying, getting better as they went.
¿Por qué quieres matarlo, Sam? Te ves demasiado intenso. Y los signos son malvados. sí. Estoy jugando con los dos a la vez. Es un poquito complicado.
John and Sam stopped and looked at the sunset.
Okay, fine.
For a moment, John let himself be quiet and listen to the world and look at how beautiful it could be.
¿Ves, John? ¿Por qué hay un pingüino? Está en un parque.
Life can be hard, said Sam, but that doesn't mean we have to be.
Bueno, ya terminamos el juego. Yo pensé que iba a conseguir una cita al final, pero no. Pero fue el psicólogo. Qué bueno. John aprendió a expresarse artísticamente. ¿Qué están comiendo? Es un pavo. No había conocido a Sam. No toquen a la abuelita. Le pegas al árbol. Bueno, muchachos, creo que aquí termina nuestro stream. Fue extraño. Demasiado extraño para mí. No estuvo mala. Se lo se hundió. Sí, claro, el Titanic lo único que hace es hundirse. Ok. Bueno, muchachos, quiero agradecerle de vuelta a Devolver por darnos el acceso a este juego. Fue un juego extraño, de eso estoy segura. Pero fue divertido. Pero quiero saber qué le dijo. ¿Pero qué? Ok. Bueno, chicos, yo creo que aquí termina nuestro stream. Fue muy divertido jugar esto. Como les recomiendo que lo prueben. Es curioso y tal vez demasiado personal. No sé, es una historia que me parece que podría suceder. Y bueno, y Facebook nos baneó porque tenía penes. Pero fuera de cosas no tenía tanto contenido inapropiado. O tal vez sí, solo que yo no lo veo. Si les gustó esto, por favor denle like a este video. Creo que es la primera vez que he jugado algo así. Pero lo volvería a jugar. Me pregunto si tomando otras decisiones el juego evoluciona de otra manera. decía que no, pero tal vez estoy equivocada y tal vez simplemente era porque no lo sabía manejar. Así que otra vez les agradezco, y si todavía no vieron el BFG de esta semana, pues está en YouTube y pueden verlo, o sea, está acá, pueden verlo. Y agradezcanle a mis pancitos especiales porque son bonitos. Si podemos, vamos a jugar otro juego inapropiado que esta vez Facebook sí permita, y vamos a estar haciendo otro stream la semana que viene. Gracias a todos los que se quedaron hasta el final, porque de verdad yo sí quería saber qué le pasaba a John, o sea, no me pensaba ir sin terminarlo y sin quitarme la duda de cuál había sido su duda existencial. Eso sí, puede que la próxima semana tengamos un sorteo, porque tengo un fútbol que hace tiempo quiero sortear, así que estén atentos que lo voy a estar anunciando por ahí. Y sugieranme juegos, denme más contenido aparentemente inapropiado para disfrutar en grupo. Así que muchas gracias, muchachos. Chao, chao.